Hey, it's Ben here, and here in this video I wanted to talk about how we can move one image to another canvas when it has transparency, and a couple of things that might pop up when you do that. So I have a selection here, and we're going to create a layer mask with that selection. So we're just going to come down to the bottom of our layers panel and add a layer mask. And that's going to create this little black and white image that's attached to our layer. Now if we want to move this image to another canvas, a couple of things we need to be careful of. So the first thing is making sure the selection is right, which as soon as we've made the layer mask is correct. So you can see in the layers panel I have the layer mask selected. So if I go to edit and copy and then come to my other image and then go to edit and paste, you can see it's copying the layer mask and the image itself. Now if we undo that for the moment and then just come back to our other image, now if we select that layer again, and sometimes I'm in the habit of doing Command A, so select all and then edit and copy, and then come into my other image and edit and paste, and you can see here we don't copy the layer mask. So there's a difference in the selection there. So when we've selected all, it's actually selecting everything from that layer itself rather than the layer mask itself. So I'm going to just undo that in this image, so Command and Z or edit undo, and we'll come back to this image. Now there's another way of moving our image across. So the first thing to make sure is that we don't have a selection. So we can go to select and deselect, and that will mean whenever we copy a selected layer, it's going to copy it with the layer mask. They're locked together. Now the other way that we can move this across is if we click and hold on the layer and drag it up to the tab. You can see I've got a little shadow of that layer there. I can drag it up to my new image, come right down to the middle and drop it there, and that's actually going to drop the layer mask and that layer on its own as well. So being careful with your selection, making sure that you're selecting either the layer mask or the image itself, and that you don't have an area selected, either with one of the selection tools or perhaps you have another layer selected. We do edit copy now. It's going to copy layer 1 rather than the layer with transparency on it. Or we can drag this layer up to the tab, and that's probably my favorite way of making sure that I'm grabbing exactly the right layer. If you have a more complex set of layers, then one nice thing to do is to just turn on and off the layer to make sure that you've got the right layer selected, and then you can drag that up and to the other tab, and then drop it down. We don't need that extra layer, so we'll just do Command and Z. So now you can see we've got that layer in there. We can move it around and transform it and modify it as we want, perhaps changing it into a smart object before we transform it up and down so we don't lose any quality. So that's just a quick tip for how we can move an image from one layer to another when it has transparency, using first of all selection tools. I use the polygonal lasso tool to make this selection, adding a layer mask and then either copying and pasting it or dragging the layer. If you're having trouble with that copy and paste, will get you that layer to your other image. Hope this is helpful. If you have any questions about Photoshop, InDesign or other applications, then please do leave a comment below. Otherwise I look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial.